morning. My name's Tim. Join me for a drink as we look this morning at the Bible and we consider how to be fearless. I have to confess, I have two major fears. We're talking about fearless, but I have two major fears. I have a fear of heights. That means that I don't like going into the top of tall buildings, although I have to with my job sometimes go on scaffolding, and I don't like it, but I have to do it. I'm also nervous when I go onto aeroplanes. I have done that recently, obviously going to Africa and going off previously on holidays and stuff like that, but Linda will tell you I'm a nervous wreck. I also don't like going on big wheels or anything like that for fun fairs. So I had to disappoint my granddaughter recently when Linda went on a fun fair, the big wheel on the fun fair, and some of the rides that go up and spin round with Luna, our granddaughter. I also have a second major fear. I don't like I have a fear of rejection. That has hampered all my life. Being rejected by both spiritual things and also practical things in work and stuff like that. So those are my two fears. But this morning I want to share with you a psalm which is well known, which can address all our fears. And as more and more restrictions are being set aside, and as the government has announced from the 1st of August, it seems as if everything is okay, we can go back to normality, we will still have anxieties, I'm sure. And although we will be going back to eventually church, we have to still be careful and think about the virus is still around. But I just want to share a psalm with you this morning. The psalm is very well known, as I've said. It's Psalm 121, and it says from the New International Version, I lift mine eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. So last week, Linda and I had a holiday with Luna, our granddaughter, and Linda's mum in Newquay in West Wales, and it was absolutely fantastic, beautiful countryside, gorgeous beach, and around the bay was mountains. And as I looked out from the lounge window and when we went onto the beach, as we looked around, we saw the mountains surround the bay, and I just thought about this psalm, about the first part of the psalm, where it says, I lift my eyes into the mountains. The mountains were beautiful and green. The bay was gorgeous. The sand was yellow. We did go to Aberystwyth, and the sand there was very black and volcanic looking, but the sand round the Newquay was golden brown and really soft, and Luna enjoyed building sandcastles and she enjoyed playing in it, and it was gorgeous. But it just made me think about this psalm. When we look to the mountains, we see all the beautiful mountains. We see over this lockdown period, we've seen how the countryside has just grown and it's just got more beautiful. But we don't look to the mountains for God. We look to heaven and we see him as our help comes from the Lord. It also reminded me that wherever we go, when we've been in Wales, some of the restrictions are completely different to England. One of those was that public conveniences were shut. Some of the supermarkets weren't as opened as, say, England. We weren't able to go into restaurants and stuff like that. They were all shut. Whereas when we coming home, we went to Oswald Street, and that's in England, and everything was open. So it was really strange going there. But as restrictions are released, and as we go out, and as we start going back to work, and as we start going to shopping with our masks on, as we start seeing more of our families and friends, staying at home, and even going to church, we can remember as this psalm tells us, that wherever we go, the Lord watches over us. Wherever we put our foot, he is with us, whether we're going out to work. Some of you might not be able to go out to work because you've got situations where you may have lost your work, or you're still on furlough. Whatever your situation is, I want to encourage you that this psalm says that he's watching over you. Also aware that, we are facing a time of uncertainty. It was while we were in Wales, the leader of the Welsh government there was saying, no, he's not going to allow this to happen, he's not going to allow that to happen. You listen to the Scottish government and they're saying no, and whereas in England we're saying almost let everything go back to normal, almost as if the virus has disappeared. And that leaves people anxious, that people are fearful, and I quite understand that. In the job that I do, I have to go and visit people and help them who are disabled, and many of them are anxious, and I have to cover my mouth, have to put hands on, gloves on, and stuff like that. And people are scared that because of their health, they don't want to catch the virus, and I totally understand that. But I wanted to share that with this psalm with you, because whatever our circumstances, whatever our situation, I believe that God is there with us. Now that doesn't mean that we're not going to face things, because I know from my personal experience, I've gone through times of unemployment, I've gone through times of losing parents, losing family members, and all we can say is that in the fullness of time God will reveal why that happened. But all I can tell you is that as we go through these situations and circumstances, God is with us every step of the way. And when we look back over this period of time, when we're totally over the virus, when we've got a vaccine, when everything is able to be sorted and life can go back to normal in one sense, and when we look back, we will see God's hand has been upon us, and God has led us and directed us, and God has opened doors, but God has shut doors as well. He's led us and he's kept us from all harm. That might mean that we have to go through sicknesses and circumstances, but he's going to keep us, and he's leading our lives. So this morning I just want to go to encourage you and to remind you that with every step of our lives, the Lord is leading us and directing us. Going back to my own personal fears, yes, I get on planes and I have a routine. I pray, and if Linda is with me, I squeeze her hand, and if Linda's not with me, I squeeze my own hand, and then we get and the plane takes off. When I have had rejection, I just ask God to just help me to get over it and not to be bitter, and God has helped me in the situation. I pray that God will just help you, that as we come to this time of being able to come back together again, that we won't have fear, that we will just rejoice in the fact that he has kept us. We won't be anxious, but look, we will just rejoice in the fact that every step of the way he has led us and directed us. So I want to encourage you this morning. Yes, you will have fears, you will have anxieties, you may have worries, but remember that God's love, his care and support is all around us, and he upholds us. That's what this psalm is saying. He upholds us with his hands. We're precious to him. As Luna and our grandchildren are precious to us as grandparents, we're so precious to God. He loves us so much. And as we travel through this week, as we travel through our lives, he is with us every step of the way. God bless you. Remember Psalm 121 this day. The Lord is with you every step of the way. Amen.